Having signed on transfer deadline day, Japanese international Takehiro Tomiyasu had developed a key role for Mikel Arteta, but with his last league appearance being versus Man City on the 1st of January, let's find out today if he's finally set to return. What's the latest on the fitness of Thomas Partey? Has Cody Gakpo hinted at an Arsenal transfer? And how will Mikel Arteta line up versus Chelsea tomorrow? Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Babs14. Welcome back to your boys channel, and we are back again with all of the latest Arsenal news ahead of the gargantuan game tomorrow. So make sure to smash a like on the video if you enjoy, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and let's get straight into all of the latest Arsenal news. And starting off with the Arsenal team news, there's quite a few key absentees as it stands for Arsenal. You've got Kieran Tierney out for the rest of the season, Thomas Partey out with a thigh injury, and of course you've also had the Japanese excellence of Takehiro Tomiyasu out for a long time in 3 months with a calf injury. In the absence of Tomiyasu, you've had Cedric Suarez doing a decent little job, but he's nowhere near the same level of Tomiyasu. So for Arsenal, we have some really positive news. As Arsenal confirmed today, they're back with us. Good to see you once again, Takehiro Tomiyasu. Do not rub your eyes, Arsenal fans. That is indeed Takehiro Tomiyasu back in full training for Arsenal. And as Mikel Arteta said when asked on Tomiyasu's fitness, Tommy is very close. Whether this game is going to be too early for him or not, again, we will decide it today after the training session. Now, the big concern for Mikel Arteta is going to be, this was Takehiro Tomiyasu's first full training session in a very long time. So going into tomorrow's must-win massive game up against the champions of Europe and a team comfortably third place in the league in Chelsea, is he really going to throw Tomiyasu straight into the Arsenal first team? And the reason why I say that is because Tomiyasu starting for Arsenal changes our entire team dynamics. It gives Arsenal the opportunity to play the inverted right back, gives Arsenal a massive advantage in the build-up phase, and it obviously gives Arsenal far more security in the defensive phase because of how good Tomiyasu is when it comes to defending. I've seen a few Arsenal fans say they want to see Mikel Arteta move to a back three, but if Takehiro Tomiyasu is fit and available and at his best, which is of course the key point, then Arsenal don't have to go into the back three, and Tomiyasu as the inverted right back gives Arsenal an extra level on the right hand side. If Arsenal were to build from a three at the back, it also gives a chance to Granit Xhaka to move back closer to Albert Sambi Lokonga. And overall, I've just missed the excellent 7-8 out of 10 player, the consistent right back that Arsenal had in Tomiyasu prior to his injury. The fact that he's not played a single league game for Arsenal since Man City on the first day of the brand new year is going to be very important to see how Mikel Arteta manages Tomiyasu back into the Arsenal first team fold. What would you guys do going into the game tomorrow? And if it was down to you, would you throw Tomiyasu straight back into the Arsenal first team? Talking about the injury news, let's talk Thomas Partey, who today has posted a video on his Instagram story confirming that his road to recovery has started on the bike. Some Arsenal fans have seen this and gone, maybe Thomas Partey's back. The answer is quite obviously no, because when players come back initially, the cycling phase is actually the easiest phase. What's going to be more important is how Thomas Partey now reacts to, of course, the more physical first team training. It's also an injury that he's had in the past, so for Arsenal, again, management of his fitness is going to be very important. Now, I don't see Thomas Partey returning for the next 2 or 3 games, so you've got your Chelsea, United, West Ham, you can rule Partey out of that. But the games after that, you've got your Newcastle away and Spurs away, the third last game of the season. I think those are the dates that Arsenal potentially have outlined for Thomas Partey and a potential return. But at the same time, do not get your hopes up, because with these thigh injuries, these muscular injuries, you just never know how these players respond when it comes to the higher intensity. But at the same time, Thomas Partey could rise like the Undertaker, return to the Arsenal midfield ASAP, alongside the potential return of Takehiro Tomiyasu. That is 2 key pillars to Arteta's first 11 coming back into the Arsenal team before the end of the season. What Arsenal have to play for when Partey does return, though, of course, is a completely different question. But alongside Tomiyasu, you also had Alexandre Lacazette, who was spotted in first team training today. Lacazette, of course, was out of the last game via COVID, and Arteta himself has spoken in his press conference saying, "We will assess Lacazette today to see if he's available for the team." So the fact that Lacazette is back in first team training says to me he most likely will be involved in the squad tomorrow, but does he deserve to start? In the last game, Arsenal started Eddie Nketiah, and to be fair to him, he had some good signs. I liked his overall movement, his pressing, but ultimately speaking, did he do enough to start over Alexandre Lacazette? Or maybe Mikel Arteta might give a chance to Pelleg's godson in Gabriel Martinelli down the middle middle instead. My question to you guys is on Alexandre Lacazette. Now that he's returned to first team Arsenal training and most likely will be available for tomorrow's game, would you throw Lacazette straight back into the Arsenal team, and if not, who should be Arsenal centre forward? Okay, moving on to Chelsea versus Arsenal. This game is must win, and it's a game at Stamford Bridge where Arsenal have won one game in the last, I believe, 10 years, and that was last season where we won 1-0. We're up against a Chelsea team that of course not only are champions of Europe, but also a team that have won the last 3 games in a row: 6-0 versus Southampton, 3-2 versus Real Madrid at the Bernabeu, and then beat Crystal Palace 2-0 in the FA Cup semi-final. 2 of those teams they've beaten convincingly were teams that have recently also beaten Arsenal. And during that same period of time, Arsenal have lost 3-0 to Crystal Palace, 2-1 to Brighton and 1-0 to Southampton. 3 wins in a row, they've won at the Bernabeu, they're picking up form, it's at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea are a very decent team. I'm just not very confident going into this game. But looking into the Chelsea team news, Mateo Kovacic is out of the game as Thomas Tuchel has confirmed. And for Arsenal, of course, you're going to have potentially the return of Tomiyasu and Alexandre Lacazette, while Thomas Partey and Kieran Tierney remain on the sidelines. But how exactly is Mikel Arteta going to line up? And as some Arsenal fans are asking, is he going to move into a back 5? Well, I think we're going to see a 4-2-3-1 formation with the Ramsdale in goal, a back 4 of Tomiyasu, Benjamin White, Gabriel and Nuno Tavares, a midfield pivot of Granit Xhaka and Albert Sambi Lokonga, and a 3 of Emil Smith-Rowe, Martin Odegaard and Bukayo Saka behind the striker outlet and Gabriel Martinelli. Now in terms of Takehiro Tomiyasu, of course, it's a massive doubt. Will he start, will he not? If a player is fit and available, Arteta normally doesn't hesitate, so I wouldn't be surprised if Tomiyasu was to start. Whether he is ready is a completely different question. But looking into that midfield again, it's going to be very important that Arteta learns from his errors, does not leave Albert Sambi Lokonga deserted alone in midfield, and plays Granit Xhaka a lot closer to him and alongside him, which gives Sambi a lot more support and gives Arsenal a far more solid midfield partnership. But also that front 4 of Odegaard, Saka, Smith-Rowe, Martinelli, I know it's bold, but I think in this game, looking at Chelsea's defence and Thiago Silva, he's a top centre-back, but he's very slow and he's very old. The pace of a Gabriel Martinelli running in behind could cause Chelsea massive issues, but if it came down to you and you were the Arsenal manager, what would be your Arsenal starting 11? In terms of the stats, Arsenal are unbeaten in the last 4 games at Stamford Bridge, but as things stands, we are in abysmal form, especially when it comes to putting the ball into the back of the net, and these stats show it. As in Arsenal's last 3 games combined, Arsenal have had an XG of 4.9 compared to the 2.1 created by the opponents, but in terms of actual goals scored, Arsenal have scored 1 and the opponents have scored 6. Looking at those stats there, Arsenal can't catch a break, and you could argue they're being unlucky. But at the same time, this might be a game where hopefully Arsenal can cash in on their expected goals. But it's going to be very key to see how Mikel Arteta adapts, because in the last 2 games for me, against Brighton and Southampton, in the first half, playing Sambi alone in midfield has cost Arsenal, and Arteta is to blame for that. So let's see if he's learned from his errors. Let's see if he moves to a back 5, which wouldn't surprise me. It's going to be a massive game for Mikel Arteta, where if we could somehow and some way pull out a result, somehow get a win, dare I say, Arsenal would go on level points with 4th place Spurs with same games played. How are you feeling going into this game? What tactics do you want to see Arteta employ? And most importantly, what are your matchday predictions? Do you believe that Arsenal can go to Stamford Bridge, somehow turn their season around and get the 3 points? Moving on to the other Arsenal news today, and starting off with some official breaking news, as Arsenal confirmed that they will compete in the FC Series in the United States in July as a part of preparations ahead of the 2022-23 season, facing Orlando City and Chelsea for the Florida Cup. Arsenal will play another match in the US prior to those 2 matches. As Josh Kroenke would say, be excited US Gooners, the Arsenal are going to the USA in terms of our pre-season tour. But on the topic of next season, according to reports, half-time interviews with managers could be introduced in the Premier League from next season. The plans have been given a warm reception by the media departments of the Premier League clubs. You see it quite often in sports like the NBA, so in the Premier League, just imagine if Arsenal winning or losing half-time interview from Mikel Arteta, it could be seen as pretty interesting. But is this something that you guys would like to see introduced? Eddie Nketiah has told the Beautiful Game podcast that there has been offers of a new contract, but my aim is to play football and to play regularly. That's my ambition and that's what I hope to do. It's a very interesting podcast given by Eddie Nketiah, and he confirms what we already know, that Arsenal actually want him to stay, but in terms of himself, if he's not guaranteed first team minutes, he's not going to stay at Arsenal Football Club. With the current age that he's at and the amount of time that he spent at Arsenal sitting on the bench, moving to a team in the Bundesliga, elsewhere, or even a mid-table Premier League club could do Nketiah a world of good, so I can understand what he's trying to say. But in the same same podcast, Nketiah has also said, "I'm a childhood supporter of Arsenal, and it's always been my goal to be the number 9 for this club. I'm 100% committed as long as I'm here, and whether I get 5 minutes or one more game, I will do everything to help this club achieve their goals this season." So Nketiah says that he's committed to Arsenal Football Club, which is things you love to see, but will he start tomorrow against Chelsea with Lacazette still being a doubt? Talk to me down below in the comments about Mr. Edward Nketiah. According to Freddie Paxson of The Guardian, Arsenal have genuine interest in Cody Gakpo. With Arsenal set to lose a number of forwards this summer, this could definitely be one to watch. 18 goals and 15 assists this season in 42 appearances. It's a player that's been on fire, and the stats totally show that. As you guys can see, Gakpo has excelled when it comes to shots per 90, key passes per 90, assists per 90, successful dribbles per 90. This year, Gakpo has been one of the most informed forwards around Europe. Also being in doubt over the long-term Arsenal future, I can understand why Arteta wants to sign Cody Gakpo, but at the same time, I am pretty wary. I see a top player in the making here, but also I look at the past players that have come from the Eredivisie. Your Memphis Depay, your Steven Bergwijns and co. These are players that are excelling in the Eredivisie, scoring goals and assists for fun, but when they've come to the Premier League, those numbers have not translated. But with Gakpo recently smiling when asked about Arsenal in an interview after scoring versus Ajax in a cup final. So this is going to be a transfer that us Arsenal fans need to keep an eye on. But for the reported price tag of 40 million euros, what do you guys make of the Dutch international Cody Gakpo? And finally, according to Chris Wheatley, Football London understands that Stan Kroenke will back Mikel Arteta with funds for further new signings once the season ends, with Arteta wanted to sign a new forward, central midfielder and a brand new winger. Stan Kroenke gave Mikel Arteta £150 million last season, and that was without any sort of European football. So this year, of course, potentially you have Champions League footy, which is looking unlikely, but even if it's the Europa League, KSC are still going to back Mikel Arteta with significant funds, as reports have confirmed. The fact that the Kroenkes are backing Arteta so much confirms to me that he still has a long-term future at Arsenal Football Club. But my question to you guys is, do you think Arteta is the right guy to spend these sort of funds? And do you believe the Kroenkes are doing the right thing in backing the Mikel Arteta Arsenal project? But that is the video there and there, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, make sure to go down there, smash a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you would like to follow your boy on them social medias, then the links will be down below in the description. But that was all of the latest Arsenal news today, and tomorrow is massive. It is gargantuan, and it's Chelsea away at Stamford Bridge. I'm not looking forward to it, but as always, I dare to hope as an Arsenal fan. Anyways, I'll see you next time. Take care of yourselves, and in a bit.